Hello, my name is David Soffer. This is part 3 of Tyranny, Soffer versus Chase. In my previous videos, I explained that the dirty little secret they don't want you to know is the police, prosecutors, lawyers, and judges all cover up for each other. They don't normally take action against each other whenever they can avoid it. That way they can all get away with whatever they want. And they have to do this because the people at the top in control of the jobs are totally corrupt. So the good police can't report on the bad police, or they could and have lost their jobs. Same goes for the prosecutors, lawyers, and judges. Now, I would like you to understand something else. These people all stick together. The lawyers all stick together. The judges all stick together. The police all stick together. The prosecutors all stick together. So if one were to take action against another, the rest would all turn against that person. So that's why the judges won't take disciplinary action against an attorney, no matter how unethical or criminal their behavior may be, because if the judge did that, then all the other lawyers would turn against that judge, and believe me, lawyers can make a lot of trouble for a judge if they want to, even get them disbarred. And likewise, the lawyers, they don't file ethics charges against the judges, no matter how unethical or even criminal their behavior may be, because if they did, the next time they went into court, the judges would all rule against them. There's something else I want people to understand. There is no reason why lawyers cannot include their fee and the other related costs with the settlement agreement, or at the time of trial. There's no reason why a jury can't award you your attorney's fees and the other related court costs. The reason the lawyers do not represent people this way, the reason why they insist that people pay them by the hour, with the exception of, some personal injury claims. There's a few exceptions to the rule, but the reasons that they always make people pay them by the hour is because government and the corporations use these costs against people. So when the government wants to criminally prosecute someone, the best way they can do that is to burden the person with a cost. And if you go with a public defender, they have a horrible reputation. I've actually been lied to by public defenders. They're worse than useless. They'll actually give you bad advice. So the lawyers do not represent people unless they are paid by the hour, because if they were to lift that burden, if you were to sue a bank or an insurance company, can you imagine if the lawyer were to say, okay, well, let's settle this case. This is what you owe my client, and here's how much my attorney's fees are. Believe me, all the corporations and the government, they would turn against that lawyer. So the attorneys will actually make you pay them for every single minute of their time, and when they've gotten all the money out of you they're ever going to get, they'll either settle the case for a lot less than what a jury would award, or they might even lose the case intentionally. And the reason is because if you sue some big corporation, they're very powerful. And any lawyer who were to compel them to pay you what they really owe you by getting the case all the way to a jury trial, that's how you compel them to pay you what they owe you, because once it's about to go to a jury trial, they're in trouble. They know the jury will award you what you are really owed. So that's when they have to settle the case for what a jury could award. Any lawyer who would do that, the corporations would turn against that lawyer, and possibly even the government. And likewise, in a criminal case, if a lawyer were to lift the burden of the cost off of the person, government would turn against that lawyer. They'd never get a good plea bargain again. I'd really like you to please Google Soffer versus Chase. Okay? click on the first link that comes up for the website chasesucks.com, and you're going to see all the information that I've been telling you about. In addition, I'm involved in a lawsuit with my homeowners association, Ocean Crest Townhomes HOA versus Soffer. Here you go. If you go to the website for San Diego Court and you change the year to 2015 and enter in the case number 13627, you can see that case. Now here's the thing about this case. This case exposes the police for committing perjury in their declaration. And the way you can see this is if you look at the declaration, it's an obvious forgery. The first sentence on page 1 says it's June 6th, I believe. The last sentence on page 2 says it's executed on July the 12th. So the declaration is an obvious forgery. Here's what happened. The detective in charge of the investigation canceled the case because he couldn't get a judge to issue a warrant because they had no eyewitness. So the day after the case was canceled, another detective submitted another declaration, and he included information on page 1 of that declaration he knew was false, to say that I believe the president of my HOA witnessed the incident when he had actually been questioned by the police and told them he didn't witness anything or hear anything. So the detective knew that was false information. So that's why when they broke down my door the day after the case was canceled, they wouldn't show me a warrant. And then they committed fraud by swapping page 1 of the declaration with page 1 of the first declaration, because that didn't contain any false information. That's why they couldn't get a warrant. So if you Google Soffer versus Chase, click on the first link for chasesucks.com, you'll see that affidavit. And then if you go to the website for the San Diego Court, just Google SD Court, and then you can enter in the case number for Ocean Crest Townhomes HOA versus Soffer. You have to switch the case, the year to 2015, and enter in the case number 13627. Here's what I want you to know. This case is being held in the courtroom right next door to the one where my case against Chase was held. The two courtrooms are right next to each other. And like I told you, the judge in the case involving Chase and those clerks, nothing ever happened to them. They're still operating. So I took all the information, all the documents that I posted online, I filed those in both cases. I filed them in the case against Chase, I filed them in the case with my HOA, so the judges could see these. So the judges could see what the police did, the judges could see, the judge in this case could see that the other judge committed fraud, and the documents were rubber stamped, and this judge is covering up for the other judge. You can't do that. You're just as guilty as the other one if you're covering up for them. So this is really important because it exposes the DA for their involvement. And I want you to understand something. The government relies on the police, the prosecutors, the lawyers, and the judges to prosecute people, to arrest them or prosecute them when they could otherwise expose them for their crimes. So that's why they won't take any action against any of these people. So thank you very much, and please watch part 4 of Tyranny, Soffer versus Chase.